and we're having so much fun in Creative Clubhouse. I'm Miss Rebecca. Right here is my good friend, Mr. John Crawford. He's from the University of Georgia Marine Extension Service. And right here we've got all kinds of neat sea critters. We're glad you're here, Mr. Crawford.
Well, thank you, thank you.
What do we have here?
Well, we have a variety of things. We've got things you might find on the beach just about anywhere. One of the most active ones we have are, you all know what these are, right, kids?
Starfish.
There we go. These are starfish. And these are, we've got several of them. And these came right off the beach at Tybee. And they're got 5 arms, you can see. Yeah. There we go. You might want to hold that. There we go. Yeah. And you can see they work when they move around with tube feet. You can see the little, handle them real gentle, because they're fairly fragile, but these little tube feet, you can see them out wiggling around, and they're very active, they are. So they crawl around on the bottom using those little feet. They do tickle, that's neat, yeah.
What else do we have in here?
Well, we have some other types of shellfish, and we have, let's see, we'll look at...
I like this one, yeah.
This one, the clam?
I like this one the best. This is my favorite.
Okay, this is a horseshoe crab. And the horseshoe crab is actually not a crab at all. It's related to the scorpions and spiders, although it's harmless. Its tail, though it looks sort of wicked, is just used for turning itself over. They don't have any way of hurting a person other than poking yourself on these spines.
Yeah, if he turns over, we'll see what happens when we turn him over. Ooh, looky there. Yeah. He doesn't like me.
Well, he's being defensive. He's exposing all these sharp points to anything that may want to bite him. So there are some sea turtles that eat these guys sometimes.
I'll tell you what, I bet you they get a sore throat after they eat them.
They get to be tough, they do.
I bet you they do.
Now they have they have 4 eyes. They have these 2 big eyes, and they have 2 little eyes right there.
4 eyes? Would you like to have 4 eyes?
Yeah. Now this is a real crab. This is a spider crab, and they only have 2 eyes, but they've got these feet, and you can see this one. This is one that walks around, and sometimes we have crabs that you're all familiar with called blue crabs. They're swimming crabs, and they actually can swim. This one has to walk, just like that. So.
How about that?
Let them walk from hand to hand. So they have little tiny claws like tweezers, so they feed on small little algae and things.
So they don't eat other animals or fish or anything.
No, they don't. So now this is a crab, just very interesting. You all know what this is called, don't you? Hermit crab.
Hermit crab.
And this one hides in shells, and it doesn't make the shell. It actually finds a shell, and as it grows bigger, it has to get a new shell. And this is what makes the shell. These are snails. Got a couple of, this is called a channeled welt. Now, a lot of people call them conchs, but you know, the books will call them a welt. And this is actually the Georgia state shell. I bet you all didn't know Georgia had a state shell.
We have a state shell?
That's it.
State flower, state bird, and state shell.
This is called the knobbed welt. You want to hold the knobbed welt? There you go. And this is the hermit crab. Now, this is what borrows a shell, you might say.
So he's just sitting in there right there. We can look at him.
Yeah, and this is what makes it. And they start out a little tiny thing, and they keep adding to the spiral, so it gets more and more turns.
Now, how does he move around if he wants to get someplace?
Well, if you've, it's just like a snail you'd have in, aquarium. They crawl up. They have one big foot, and they sort of secrete mucus and slide along on that mucus. So they're it works just like a freshwater snail you might see in an aquarium. And they have a mouth that they open things.
So they just kind of creep. This is their foot right there, and they just kind of.
Well, that's called the operculum. This is the trap door. And it's actually just to keep something from getting in there. See, it's sort of hard and woody.
Yeah.
And,
don't hurt him.
Now, the animal pulls that in when he's scared, so he's scared of it. But when they come out, that'll go around.
Huh.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, these are called univalves. They have 1 shell, and this has how many shells? 2. Yeah, this is a bivalve, and it's a clam. This is a very old clam. In fact, this clam is older than y'all. This clam's probably older than 20 years old. You can tell by counting all these little rings on them, and if you know how many they get in a year, you can tell how old it is. So
how old do you think this one is?
It's over 20 years old.
So. Over 20 years old? Yeah. Shoot, that's almost as old as we are.
That's right, almost.
How about that? Now, you told me we shouldn't open this up.
Well, they only open when they're underwater, and they feed on some microscopic stuff. You all know what that's called? What's that little in the order called? Plankton. That's right, plankton. That's right. So there's some plankton's animals and some are plants, but the clams take water in and they filter out the little tiny microscopic plants and animals and feed on them. Now, snails, this one will eat these clams, actually.
So if we would open this, what would happen?
Well, it would die.
They would die.
Yes. Now, so they open just right along this hinge right here, and they open just barely enough to let water in.
So we don't want to just go around opening them all the time, do we?
Well, not unless we want to have them for supper. So.
If we're going to eat them, then that would be okay to do. How about that? Here, our hermit crab is trying to get out, so we could look at him for just as soon as we pick him up, he goes back inside.
He's very shy, that's right.
He sure is. Okay. Well, we just talked about all of these things. Well, these are wonderful. We sure do appreciate your bringing these over here for us to see them.
My pleasure. And, you can find these on the beach, and if they're live animals, you find them on a beach, you should let them stay there because they're much happier in the salt water. And this is salt water like you find at the beach. You need a towel here?
Now, we were talking before about whenever we take all these shells from the beach, excuse me? Yeah, he was trying to come out. Well, he changed his mind. But we need to leave these shells at the beach. And you were telling me, Mr. Crawford, why do we need to do that?
Well, because sometimes hermit crabs have to find a new home as they get bigger. And if we take all the shells away, they won't have a new home.
So we leave them there. Melissa? Yeah.
When the snails move out, the hermit crabs move in the snail's shell?
Now the snails, they don't see they keep staying there all their lives. So if they find an empty shell, it meant the snail died for some reason, and the hermit crab just takes advantage of it.
How does the starfish eat?
Well, they have a mouth right in the middle, and they use these tube feet to pull food to the middle, and they sort of turn their stomach inside out, and actually wrap around the piece of food. We see these little chunks of shrimp.
Oh,
so
you
this had shrimp for supper.
He had shrimp for dinner. Is he going to turn pink like the flamingos?
There's his dinner, I'm afraid.
How about that? Well, Mr. Crawford, this has been fascinating. Well, we've learned about starfish today, and snails, and hermit crabs, and spider crabs, and horseshoe crabs. Well, this has been great, boys and girls. I bet the next time you go to the beach, if you see one of these, you won't be so afraid of them, will you? So we want to be very gentle with them.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Okay, well, he'll eat underwater if you put him in there. That's the way
Let's
they do
put him
it.
back.
Right.
Chris, can you hand that back to me? And I'll tell you what, boys and girls, we need to give Mr. Crawford a great big round of applause. This has been great. Round of applause.
All right. Well, thank you. Well, I have a towel y'all can dry off with. How's that?
We're going to have to come out there and see. You have a tank with all kinds of stuff out there, don't you?
We got fish and turtles and things, so please come see us.
So we should invite the boys and girls. If you're out at the Marine Extension Service, come on down and see Mr. John Crawford, and he'll let you hold these things and see all about them. We're going to be right back in just a minute, boys and girls, with Professor Deborah Mose. She's going to tell us all about how we can make wrapping paper and greeting cards and a beautiful picture by using sponges that are shaped like fish. So don't go away. We'll be right back.